Since that day in September of 2015 at Le Mans in France, we have been waiting for the rematch. In a few moments' time, we will crown the 2016 World Champion in the KZ category. Well, no driver has been waiting longer to avenge that race than the pole sitter, Paolo De Conto. Of course, he led for 23 laps before the Dutchman, Jorrit Pex, swept around the outside to take the World Championship in France exactly 12 months ago. Marco Ardigo finished in the grass. He is a three-time world champion, but he starts on the outside of the front row. To the right of your screen in cart number 1, he's the newly crowned European champion. De Conto, vice world champion. He's had a pretty good year. He's had a brilliant weekend. He qualified fastest. He's won the 2 heats. He won the pre-final this morning. And that CRG looks absolutely unstoppable. However, we've got 25 laps to decide who will win this race. There is Paolo De Conto. He's from Treviso, just a few miles away from Venice in northern Italy. The TM-powered CRG. If you think you've seen a determined driver, you've seen nothing until you've seen the face of a determined Paolo De Conto here this weekend. He is desperate to win the World Championship. Marco Ardigo knows what that feels like. He's already done it 3 times. World champion in 2007, world champion in 2008, and of course, he's the world champion in 2014, 3-time world champion, 5-time European champion, 2005, 6, 7, and 8 consecutively. And guess what? He also won this year's series just 5 weeks ago at Genk in Belgium. Ardigo on the outside of the front row. There is Bas Lemmers. On screen, cart number 10, the factory Sodi kart. The Dutchman, a 3-time World Cup winner. Sodi kart, desperate to win the World Championship for the first time since David Terrien in the Sodi kart Futura at Laval, France in 1993. It's been a long time since the French manufacturer, the biggest manufacturer in the world, has tasted a world title success. David Forêt, in the meantime, he's had 4 world championships. He's had a good 2016. He's driving the Righetti Ridolfi Gold Kart. He starts out of grid number 4. This field is stacked with class. None less so than this super impressive young Italian Lorenzo Complesi in the Paralin team. The reigning Asia Pacific champion, winning that title at Macau in China in December of last year. Leonardo Lorandi for the baby race team starts out at grid number 6 after a brilliant pre-final. He's the WSK Supermaster Series KZ2 champion for this year, his first year in the gearbox category. As the cloud cover starts to roll in from Denmark, but it will be a dry race. This is Anthony Abbas. Many are tipping the Frenchman to take the French manufacturer Sodi kart to their first world title success in 23 years. Anthony starts out of grid number 7 alongside his teammate, number 3, Jeremy Iglesias. So it's an all Sodi kart, 4th row of the grid, notwithstanding Lammers, who starts out of grid 3. 4 Sodi karts in this field that you look at, absolutely stacked with class. 33 of the finest kart racing drivers on the planet. Simo Puhaka from just over the border in Tampere, Finland. In the CRG, starts out of grid number 9 alongside Stan Pex. This is the younger brother of the reigning world champion Jorrit Pex for the Pex Racing team. The Jos Verstappen tuned Vortex powered CRGs. He's actually starting ahead of his brother Jorrit, who's got a lot of work to do to retain his world championship. In a few moments' time, we will discover who will wear the title of number 1 for the following 12 months. The 2016 World Championship is just moments away. The karts are pushed into life. Here we go. This is the big one. 2 formation laps. under the control of the pole sitter, Paolo Di Conto. So let's go through the grid for you. You've just seen the front few rows. Di Conto alongside Ardigo, Lammers, Foray, Camplacey, Leonardo Lorandi. That's the third row of the grid. Then it's the All-Soddy Kart fourth row, Abbas and Iglesias. Quite a slow pace, we must say. Ardigo is in no hurry to get to the grid. Fifth row of the grid, Puhaka and Pex. Sixth row of the grid contains two world champions. The 2012 world champion Flavio Camponeschi alongside the 2009 world champion Arno Kozlinski, both driving CRGs. Di Conto, of course, on pole. The seventh row of the grid, starting out of grid number 13, is the reigning world champion. Europexi did not have a good run in the pre-final. He starts alongside Patrick Hayek. They come around to start their second formation lap here in Kristianstad. Douglas Lundberg, the Swede for the German Mach 1 Motorsport team, alongside Gus Specken in the Vortex-powered Gillard, Pavel Miskier and Henry Coco. All the way from Bakersfield, California, the Formula K team driver Gary Carlton, alongside the driver from Valencia in Spain, Jorge Pescador. 21 is the Kiwi from Christchurch, New Zealand, Marcus Armstrong. Benjamin Henley, Andreas Bachmann, Andrea Dale, former World Cup champion. How good is this field? Jordan Lennox Lamb, Chubarov, Force, and Rubens Barrichello. Yes, that is the driver who competed in 328 Formula One races. Rubens starting on the 14th row of the grid. Behind him is last year's European champion, Joel Johansson, alongside Jan Kovi Rekdrezen, the 2014 European champion, alongside the Kiwi Daniel Bray, and Jean-Baptiste Valerio rounds out the field. The tension is palpable here in Kristianstad. The crowd is building. They're on the fence, 2 and 3 deep. And all along the main straight, the grandstand, I can see spectators running over at the edge of turn 1 to get into position to watch this one. The big one, 25 laps, the 2016 KZ World Championship. Di Conto to the left of your screen in kart number 4. Alongside him is Marco Ardigo. Bass pulls into position. Behind him is Pex in 14. The front row of the grid, all Italian, but it's CRG versus Tony Kart. This is it, the big one. The World Karting Championship returns to Sweden for the first time since 1984. In 25 laps time, we will decide who is the champion. There's the green flag. The 2016 KZ World Championship is alive. What a start by Camplacey from the third row of the grid. Ardigo around the outside has displaced Di Conto into second spot. Lorenzo Camplacey in the Paralin kart up into third. What a start. It's the Italians 1, 2, 3 and 4. David Forte in the gold kart is fourth. Then it is the first of the Soddy karts. It's actually Anthony Abbas who's made a brilliant start in kart number 5. He's right on the tail of the 4-time world champion David Forte. Leonardo Lorandi in 6th spot in the baby race kart, the leader in this early stage of the race. Lap number 1, the 3-time world champion looking to make it 4 in 24 and a half laps time. The Tony Kart driver Marco Ardigo. Second place, the pole sitter Paolo Di Conto. Then a brilliant start from Lorenzo Camplacey in the Paralin. He's in the slipstream. He pulls out to pass into turn 1. They're side by side. Di Conto closes the door and said, "You're not going to do it that easy." Di Conto desperate to make up for last year. Look at Camplacey. What a start. He rocketed off the line. He's up into third in the Paralin. He's up into second because he's just gone through on Di Conto. Foray through into third, almost into second. Ardigo is now pulling away. Camplacey in the Paralin into second. Di Conto. Oh no, it's not happening again for the Italian in the CRG. Surely not. He has borne the burden of finishing second at last year's World Championship in Le Mans for the last 12 months. He does not want to finish second, third, or anything other than number one this afternoon, but he's back in third spot. Complacey, a brilliant start. He's now up into second. Then we go to Abbas in the Soddy Kart. Foray, Lammers, Lorandi, Pex, Stan Pex into eighth. Kozlinski, great start into ninth. And Simo Puhaka rounds out the 10. Abbas down the inside of DeConto. It's all falling apart for the Italian. The CRG driver is back into fourth. He makes an adjustment on the radiator. Abbas, the French driver in the Soddy Kart, now into third. Ardigo is not skipping away too much yet. Traditionally, this is when Ardigo is most vulnerable. If they're going to get past the Italian, they're going to have to do it now. He looks super strong. DeConto needs to recover, and he needs to do it very, very quickly. Not only is not in the lead, he's not even on the podium. Foray looks behind. He's in a Soddy Kart sandwich. Lammers behind him. Abbas just ahead. Also DeConto involved. There is the pole sitter. Winner of two heats, winner of the pre-final in the CRG. Over the rise, ahead of Foray, who's back to fifth. Just ahead of the Lammers. Lorandi's doing a great job in the baby race tourniquet. He's ahead of Kozlinski, who's now up into eighth. Let's check the gap. It's 0.5 of a second from Ardigo to Lorenzo Complacey. In the Paralin kart, dark horse in the field. No, he's definitely in contention. As we mentioned, the biggest win of his career came at Macau in December of last year, the Asia Pacific Championship. He's had great speed throughout the 2016 series. Hasn't had a win as yet, but he's looking good. He's in second spot and closing in on Marco Ardigo. Complacey's just taken a tenth of a second out of the three-time world champion in the Tony Kart. Abbas in third spot, also closing in. Ladies and gentlemen, we have got a race. The 2016 World Championship has come alive. Abbas in the Soddy Kart is in third. Then it's DeConto. Forte still staying in touch. Lammers is in sixth. Little bit of a gap back to Arnaud Kozlinski, who's driven a brilliant race. Kozlinski, remember, came from way back on the grid. Grid number 12, in fact. The Frenchman is starting to close in on the leaders. Down the inside, though, Complacey. Well, is his moment in the sun over? Abbas in the Soddy Kart, now up to second. Up over the rise, Complacey goes defensive. DeConto just biding his time. He's still got 20 laps to get back to the front. Down the inside, DeConto up into third. Complacey cannot do anything about it. And the same corner at the same time, Bas Lammers gets past David Forte. The gold cart now back to sixth. Abbas in the Soddy Kart. Well, the gap was 0.4 of a second to Complacey last time around, despite the fact that he had to get past the Paralin driver. I don't think Abbas in the Soddy Kart has lost too much to Marco Ardigo in the Tony Kart, who looks behind him. The Frenchman is coming. Abbas sets the fastest first sector. Lorandi loses a spot to Stan Pex. Jeremy Iglesias in the other Soddy Kart. They're running line astern from first back to sixth place, David Forte and Arno Kozlinski. You saw him get airborne. That CRG chassis smashed on the bitumen as he came back down to earth, up into fifth gear, flat strap over the rise as he sets about chasing the leaders. Ardigo, the gap, we'll check it for you as Lammers sets the fastest second sector, immediately topped by Simo Puhaka. It was 0.468 of a second last time round. That's the gap between first and second. Ardigo in the Tony Kart and Abbas in the Soddy Kart. It's down to 0.3. The Frenchman is catching him. Make no mistake, the Soddy Kart is on the charge. Here comes Anthony Abbas, desperate to give Soddy Kart their first world championship since 1993. DeConto's up into third. Don't dismiss the pole sitter. Remember, he was back to fourth. He had a rotten start, but he is starting to recover as Complacey starts to fade. In the Paralin kart, he's under attack now from Bas Lammers. David Forte also. Kozlinski. Puhaka, Stan Pex And Jeremy Iglesias in another one of the prolific Soddy karts rounds out the 10. The gap last time was 0.382 of a second between first and second. Across the line they go now, 0.32. So it just took a couple of hundredths out of the race leader. We're not even at half race distance as Lemmers tries the inside of Complacey, but he's not going to give up the position so easily. The Paralyn is not going to be easy to pass, despite the fact that he's got a World Cup winner right behind him. Now he's gone through though. It took 2 attempts. Let's see if Foray can capitalise. Also, he's all over the back of his countryman Complacey in the Paralyn. Lemmers, let's see if he can skip away. Let's see if Lemmers can get involved and catch the leaders. Ardigo, the gap, 0.32 of a second last time. Oh, we've lost Foray. David Foray's gone around at the hairpin. David Foray has gone around. He's out of the race. He walks away from his abandoned goal cart. Something has failed in dramatic fashion. Fortunately, it was at a low-speed corner, and all the other drivers were able to get by him. He possibly even got a touch. Wow, David Foray, he looks absolutely destroyed. He's sitting on the tyre barrier. He was running in 6th position in the goal cart, in contention for his 5th World Championship, but it's not going to happen today. Out of the goal still, from Abbas to Conto. Lemmers will be on the tail of the trio before you know it. It is Tony Kart, Soddy Kart, and CRG. Ardigo doesn't look around too often, but he's done it 4 or 5 times already in this race. This is just over 1/3 race distance. He desperately wants to add the World Championship to this year's European crown. Abbas wants to win it for the first time. DeConto wants to make up for last year. Down the inside! Anthony Abbas leads it for Soddy Kart. They're side by side. DeConto watches on in 3rd spot. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new race leader. He's from France. He's driving the kart from France. The Soddy Kart leads here in Sweden. Anthony Abbas now puts Ardigo back to 2nd. Watch DeConto. Ardigo closes the door. Lammers is closing on the front trio. Ardigo, a tight line on the exit. He looks behind him. Paolo is right there. Marco is not gone anywhere. But Abbas is starting to skip away. He's already put 2 kart lengths on the Tony Kart. This is incredible stuff here at Kristianstad in Sweden. The 2016 KZ World Championship has come alive. The Soddy Kart leads. Anthony Abbas has put Ardigo back to 2nd. DeConto's put him back to 3rd. Ardigo now from leading is back into 3rd. And here comes Bas Lemmers. The Soddy Karts are sandwiching the CRG and the Tony Kart. Abbas is skipping away, but DeConto is coming and coming hard. Well, if he's going to win the world title, he's going to have to do it the hard way. Remember, he had a terrible start. He was back to 4th. He's got past his countryman, and now he's setting about catching the race leader in the Soddy Kart, the Frenchman Anthony Abbas. This is half race distance right now. Up over the rise. You see the Tony Kart get airborne. DeConto. The gap last time was 0.3 of a second. As Simo Puhaka in the CRG in 5th spot sets the fastest first sector of the race. The crowd absolutely on their toes, enthralled by this battle. Half race distance now. Ardigo has definitely lost touch with his countryman DeConto, who has 2 bites at that corner. You can see the abandoned kart of Foray in the background. Lammers head down behind the steering wheel, desperate to get involved in this battle. As DeConto sets the fastest lap of the race. This is ominous. The fastest qualifier, the winner of the pre-final, the winner of the 2 heats. This is the KZ World Championship for 2016. DeConto has had nightmares about that race in Le Mans 12 months ago, where he led for all but the last lap. He's determined to win here this afternoon, but he's got a huge obstacle in front of him, and that is the form of the Frenchman Anthony Abbas in the Soddy Kart. number 5. DeConto down the inside. Again, he has 2 goes at that corner. That's his style. It is quick. The gap was 0.3. It's down to 0.2 of a second. DeConto, again, fastest lap of the race, 49.410. Be assured, Abbas will not make it easy for him. Up over the rise as they break from 118 k's an hour. 118, also right there, also in 5th gear. Up into 5th gear right now. This is the slowest corner of the track. 43 k's an hour, that left-hander. Up around the original part of this KRISTIANSTAD circuit. DeConto's working on him. As Ardigol starts to lose touch. Unfortunately, we've lost the Finnish driver, Henry Koko, who just got a glimpse of rolling to a stop on the infield. The driver from Finland is out of this one after running in 20th position. So, as we concentrate on the front 4, let's quickly recap the top 10. Abbas from DeConto, Ardigo and Lemmers. That's the front 4. They are fighting for the World Championship. In 5th is the Finnish driver, Simo Puhaka, head of Arno Kozlinski. Complaci's now in 7th, head of Jeremy Iglesias, Stan Pex, and Gust Specken. The Dutchman's having a brilliant run. He is now running 10th in the World Championship. 10 laps to go. DeConto is working on him. He's in the slipstream. Not close enough down through the Vega chicane. 8.5 laps to go. The race is on. Be assured, if these two have anything less than a clean move for the lead, the 3-time world champion, the Tony Kart driver, will be right there to capitalise as DeConto goes down the inside. Well, that was a clean move. Abbas tries to get back but cannot do anything about it. Is that the move that is going to give DeConto the world championship? Abbas looks behind him. He's already lost 3-4 kart lengths to the Italian. Abbas in 2nd spot. Let's take a look at the replay. Down the inside, nicely done. He had it all locked up. Abbas tried desperately to take the high line around the outside. Actually had his nose cone kiss the left rear Vega tyre of DeConto. No harm done. And the CRG finally, it's taken 17 laps. But Paolo DeConto from Treviso in Italy is leading the KZ World Championship. Abbas now back in 2nd spot. 0.3 of a second behind, and DeConto immediately sets the fastest first sector of the race. Ardigo under immense pressure now from Bas Lemmers in 3rd spot. Anything less than a win for the Soddy Kart team, they would be disappointed with. They want to win here badly. They were 3rd last year at Le Mans, their home circuit, with Arno Kozlinski. As DeConto with his left hand lowers the blind on that radiator, letting a maximum airflow into that TM engine. 6-speed gearbox, 4-wheel disc brakes, putting out close to 50 horsepower. The gap is 0.4 of a second now. Abbas is starting to lose touch. He's driven superbly, but he's going to need a miracle to gain that extra 1/10 of a second to mount a challenge. Paolo DeConto's pulling away. He's pulling away. He will be nervous after what happened at Le Mans in France last year. Nice move. He lined him up. Abbas sensed that it was going to come at some point during the race. He did close up in the 2 corners prior. You just saw them touch coming out of the hairpin. The gap is now at to 0.6 of a second again. 49.241. They're almost down to qualifying times. DeConto, the fastest lap of the race. Look, it's almost 0.7 of a second. Ardigo is still in 3rd. Well, is history about to be made? You sense that we will have a new world champion, because I don't think Marco Ardigo can respond He's in third place. He's in the green cart. We've got 3 different manufacturers in the top 3. But we've got a CRG that is up and flying with 5 laps to go. There's Jux Speckend coming through. He's doing a great job. Jorge Pescador, Lorandi, Jordan Lennox Lamb goes through. Here's Rekteresen, not having a great run this afternoon behind the New Zealand driver, Daniel Bray. The gap now out to 0.9 of a second, but Abbas has just done the fastest first sector. Well, he will have to drive like he has never driven before in his life if he's to become the world champion this afternoon, as the 2014 European champion, Rekteresen, in the Ricardo kart, pulls off the track with a failure of some sort. Looks like he's lost drive in that Ricardo kart. Bad luck for the Belgian. He is out. Lammers, look at him, trying to will that Soddy kart on. The gap is 1.01 seconds. Lammers absolutely driving the wheels off that kart, desperate to get up onto the podium, let alone win the World Championship. Simon Puhaka's driven superbly all race. He holds down 5th position. Gust Speckend, the Dutchman, in the Vortex-powered Gillard kart. He's having a great run. Still holds down position number 10. The Englishman, Ben Henley, is 11th. Then it's Hayek. Jorrit Pex, unlikely to retain his World Championship. He's in 13th, ahead of Pescador. And the local driver, the first Swede, Douglas Lundberg, in position 15. 3 laps to go. Paolo De Conto has just done a 49.16. The gap is 1.2 seconds. This is the race of his life. We already saw the CRG of Pedro Hilprand win the KZ2 International Super Cup. We're looking at a CRG victory in the World Championship here this afternoon for the 2nd year in a row. 2.5 laps remaining. Lammers still cannot get past Marco Artigol. That is the widest green Tony kart the Dutchman has ever seen in his life. He does occupy the bottom step of the podium. He's the reigning European champion. He looks behind him. Abbas does the same. He's in 2nd spot. He's likely to take the title of Vice World Champion. But Paolo De Conto, another fastest lap last time round with a lap and a half to go. Lammers will not make the podium. In fact, he's sideways out of that corner. That's how hard he's driving it. Simon Puhaka in another CRG is now inside the top 5. Head of Arno Kozlinski in another CRG. Lorenzo Complesi still holding down 7th position in the 2016 KZ World Championship. The last lap board will come out this time round for Paolo De Conto. He's got 1,231 metres to go. The crowd are cheering him on. The CRG team on the pit wall cannot watch. The fastest qualifier, winner of the 2 heats. He won the pre-final. He's half a lap away from history here in Sweden. Up over the rise for the final time. Kart number 4, he made it difficult for himself off the start. It looked as though it was all falling apart, but he's recovered superbly. He took the early race leader, Anthony Abbas. Surely he cannot lose it now. He's just a few corners away from writing his name into history. Paolo De Conto from Treviso in Italy, driving the CRG, rounds the final corner. The checkered flag comes out. Paolo De Conto is the 2016 World Champion. Congratulations, he's done it. He's had nightmares for the last 12 months after coming 2nd at Le Mans. He is the 2016, the new World Champion is Paolo De Conto. Do you think he's happy or what? Great sportsmanship as he's congratulated by the new Vice World Champion, Anthony Abbas. There is Simon Puhaka, who has finished 5th. There is Arno Kozlinski, and another CRG who's finished 6th. He's super happy for his teammate. I think every driver in this field, of course they wanted to win it themselves, but if they weren't to do it, they're happy for Paolo De Conto to claim the 2016 World Championship. Incredible stuff as the local Douglas Lundberg, who came home in position 15, congratulates the new world champion. Incredible scenes, and you cannot say he did not deserve it. He qualified fastest. He took 2 heat wins. He won the pre-final. He did not get a great start, but he's picked them off one by one from 4th to 3rd to 2nd. He got round the Frenchman, the early race leader, Anthony Abbas. There he is, slowly making his way back to Parc Ferme. Lorenzo Complacey got a great start. The new world champion did not. De Conto, in the early part of the race, there he was, being passed by Abbas. Foray, who would not finish in his quest to become a 5-time world champion. Complacey made it super difficult for Lammers to get past. Abbas got past Artigo. Remember, the Italian in the Tony Kart was the early race leader before he succumbed to, first of all, De Conto, who just waited for the moment. And then at the very same corner on lap 17, he went side by side with the Frenchman, Anthony Abbas. And from there, they didn't see which way he went. 1.9 seconds. He has won it here in Sweden. Paolo De Conto, the smile, you will not be able to get it off his face after virtually frowning for the last 12 months, losing last year's World Championship on the very final lap. The new world champion for 2016, driving the CRG, is Paolo De Conto. Congratulations. Second place, Anthony Abbas in the Sodi Kart. Of course, the French team were 3rd last year. They are now 2nd today. They're moving up the ladder, but there's only one position they wanted, and that's occupied by CRG. Marco Artigo, another World Championship podium. He was 3rd, ahead of Lammers. Puhaka 5th, Kozlinski 6th. Great result for Lorenzo Complacey from the Paralin team, head of Iglesias. Stan Pex was 9th. And congratulations, Gust Speck and the Dutchman in the Vortex-powered Gilhard comes home in position 10 in the World Championships. He was one ahead of Hanley, Hayek. Joret Pex has to relinquish his crown to the Italian Pescador, Lundberg, Armstrong, Lorandi, Lennox Lamb, Flavio Camponeschi, Andrea Dale rounds out the 10. Out the 20, I should say. Then it was Daniel Bray, another New Zealander, Ivan Chubarov, Andreas Bachmann, Rubens Barrichello. Great to have him racing in the World Championship. He finishes ahead of Jan Kovi. And we lost Rick Drazen, the American Gary Carlton, Pavel Mishkia, Force, Johansson, Kovi, Jumbo, and the 4-time world champion David Foray comes home on the back of a recovery vehicle. Well, we asked the question. We now have an answer. Paolo De Conto will stand on the top step of that very podium in a few moments' time. The CRG driver from Italy is the new world champion. Stay with us on CIKFIA.tv, the official podium presentation. In just a few moments, live from Kristianstad here in Sweden. Well, the crowd is building at the bottom of the podium as we await the drivers here at Kristianstad. The first time the World Championships have been held here in Sweden since 1984. On that occasion, the winner was Gabriele Tarquini. To say this event has been a success, well, that's an understatement. And the CRG driver has written his name into history. He'll make his way up to the podium in just a few moments. Three different manufacturers also on the podium, of course. The CRG winning the second World Championship in a row. Saudi Kart almost did it with their French driver Anthony Abbas and Marco Ardigol. Another World Championship podium for this year's current reigning European champion. And it's probably fair to point out that not one Vega wet tyre was used throughout the week. The clouds are now starting to roll in over the top of the Kristianstad circuit as it gets a little bit overcast, but we did have a dry final. And we have a new world champion, Paolo De Conto, just arriving at the bottom of the podium. We'll have two Italians and a French driver on the podium in just a moment. The crowd is building for the final podium presentation here in just a few moments. They are exhausted. They've just driven these road racing rockets around this very tight technical Kristianstad circuit. Three different manufacturers, two Italians, one Frenchman. So we stand by for the official podium presentations. Delighted scenes. Paolo De Conto, the new world champion. He is smiling and he does deserve it. Everyone up here is really happy for him. I think he's relieved more than anything. We've also got Anthony Abbas, the Saudi Kart driver, who led for half the race, Marco Ardigol, the early race leader. We're about to get underway with the official podium presentation. He almost did it. He is this year's European champion. He's in the Tony Kart. He led for much of the race. Let's hear it for the Italian in third place, Marco Ardigol. Second place, the Frenchman for the French Saudi Kart team. Let's hear it for Anthony Abbas, the new Vice World Champion. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new world champion. He's the most relieved person in all of world motorsport. Let's hear it, the 2016 world champion, Paolo De Conto. And representing the winning team, CRG, they've made it 2 world championships in a row. CRG Racing, Glenn Kayert. As we stand by for the national anthem of Italy. Ladies and gentlemen, the podium for the 2016 KZ World Karting Championships. I'd like to ask Mr. Stefan Andersson, Chairman of the Board of the Swedish Karting Commission, to present the third place trophy to Tony Kart's Marco Ardigo. The President of the Swedish Automobile Sport Federation, Mr. Kenneth Torren, to present the second place trophy to Sodi Kart's Anthony Abbas. The CIK FIA Vice President, Mr. Kees van der Grint, to present the winning trophy to the new world champion, Paolo De Conto. And Mr. Jesper Hankinson, Chief Organiser of the Kristianstad Karting Club, to present the winning team's trophy for the second year in a row to Glenn Kyatt, representing CRG. As the girls step in to present the trophies to Marco, Anthony and Paolo. And we step in for a quick word. Firstly, with Marco. Marco, you gave it 100% today.
Yeah, sure, we can try to do our best all the weekend, especially in the final. And I mean, I made a really good start, but in the end, I missing a little bit the speed. So podium is really good today, and also I'm happy for the podium.
Congratulations, Marco. Of course, this year's European champion as well. He gave it his best. He led for much of the race. You almost gave Sodi Kart their first world championship since 1993. Congratulations, the new vice world champion, Anthony Abbas.
Yeah, thank you. It was an amazing weekend. The qualifying was hard and also the heat. And I give my maximum with my team to come back, and now I am second. It's an amazing result for us, and thank you to all of my team, Sodi Kart Factory and TM Engine Racing.
Felicitations, Anthony. Paolo De Conto, finalmente sei il campione del mondo. Finally, you are the world champion. How do you feel?
It's a good experience. You know, after last year was very difficult, and then this year we make the best. And in the beginning was difficult, the race, because I mistaken the start. And Marco overtake me, also Camplese and Abbas. So in that moment, I don't know what I think, but I know the race was longer. So I make better and better and better lap. And so in the end I overtake Marco and Anthony, so that I can get the gap and I can go to win.
Adesso tu puoi dimenticare l'anno scorso, Francia. Now you can forget the last lap of France last year. You are the new world champion. Congratulations.
For sure, I never forgot what happened last year. That can help me more and understand more myself. So I know what I can do now. And now I can say I'm world champion.
Congratulations. I think everybody here is delighted for you. Ladies and gentlemen, three of the finest kart racing drivers in the world. Third place, Marco Ardigo. Second place, Anthony Abbas. And the new world champion for CRG, Paolo De Conto. On behalf of all the CIK, FIA, and everyone at WSK Promotion and the Kristianstad Karting Club, thanks for joining us. We have a new world champion. This guy right here, Paolo De Conto, driving the CRG. We'll see you next time we go international kart racing.